Good morning, guys. Woke up at 5 a.m. today so we could get our fasted cardio done. We're about 12 weeks and 6 days out from Charleston. This past week, I don't know, my weight's just stagnated. I haven't wanted to drop weight, but it looks like my face is thinning out a little bit. I was traveling to higher elevation, um, and before check-ins yesterday, I had trained 3 days really hard in a row. My training day calories are higher. So I think we need to bring training calories down there about 35, 50. And my rest days are like close to 2,600 calories. So I'm thinking I need to bring my training calories down more in line with my rest day calories. A little later today, I'll be training arms and I'm going to be using my rest day protocol for that because it's a less intense workout. Um, so hopefully that helps get things moving in the right direction. Gonna hit some cardio right now though, get a good sweat on, have my morning clients, and then I'll come back to the gym, hit arms, and do some posing and check-ins. So hopefully things start to move in the right direction. I'm not afraid of hard work, so whatever it takes to get there, we're gonna make it happen. So see you guys in a bit. Just pulled into train station. We're back in Longmont. Feels good. That getaway was really nice, but I'm a creature of habit. I like my routine. So we're gonna hit some shoulders and arms. I wanna do a behind the neck shoulder press today. Behind the neck pressing isn't inherently dangerous, only if you do too much weight too quickly, which makes any exercise dangerous. The reason why I wanna do behind the neck overhead pressing is upper thoracic extension is something that I'm really lacking. That's this part of your spine. I tend to be a little hyperkyphotic. And when you load the weight behind your head, it kind of forces the issue for you to get your spine more upright. It is going to reduce the amount of weight that I can lift, but today's a lighter day for shoulders. It's more about metabolic stress today. And then my heavy push day is going to come later on in the week. And that's when I'm going to really try to move some serious weight for fewer reps. So anyways, we're going to get after it. Going to get some training footage and some posing practice in because I like to submit all of my check-ins from train station just to keep lighting and consistency across the board. One issue I see with a lot of people that I've worked with is the camera angle, the lighting, the distance from the camera. They vary so much that it's really difficult to quantify or qualify changes. So something to bear in mind if you are sending check-in photos, make sure you keep those constraints consistent, and yeah, we're gonna get after it. I'm just going to show one set of each exercise. I wound up doing this for 3 sets of about 15 to 20. I don't know if I quite got 15 here, but I was really just focusing on keeping the tension where I was hoping to feel it across my upper back and the tops of my shoulders. This variation also hits your lateral delts a little bit harder than when you're pressing from an upright position in front of your head. So that's another unique advantage to it. But I really felt this in my levators, even my upper trapezius a little bit, as well as my lateral delts, and of course triceps were hurting pretty good here too. So just 3 working sets here, and we move on to the next. So here we're doing cable lateral raises. I did 4 sets of each of these, and I start off kind of light just to get blood flow and feel the tension where I want. And then the last 2 sets, I'll really push some heavy weight. And if that means a little bit of technique breakdown, then so be it. So long as I'm controlling that eccentric really well, I'm getting pretty much the most amount of stimulus I can. I tell a lot of my competitors, my shoulders didn't really start to grow until I started hitting them at least 3 times per week with laterals and posterior delt flies. And that's now become a much stronger point on my physique, so I'm really happy about that. But it did take a lot of work, and it took high frequency. Now that I've gotten to this point, I can just connect with the muscle a lot better, and it doesn't seem as though I still need as much volume in order to continue to progress. But if you're feeling stuck on shoulders, up the ante on your volume. So next is the posterior delt fly. Sometimes I'll do this unilateral on the cable or sitting sideways on this machine, but I didn't really feel like it. So for the sake of time, I did this, and it works just fine. Really focus on controlling that eccentric.
and I try to minimize movement through my shoulder blades. I don't want my upper back to be too involved. I really just want to move through my upper arms as much as possible in order to really hit that posterior delt, because the larger muscles of the back tend to take over on multi-joint exercises, so it's important to hit them in isolation. So now we're getting into arm day. I start by training triceps in the shortened position, help get the tendons nice and warm. Credit to John Meadows for that tip, training in the shortened position first. Really just makes a huge difference for me anecdotally, both in how well I control my stretch position exercises and with how good my joints feel, which is really important if you're thinking about doing heavy weight with overhead extensions, because that is a lot more torque on the elbow. Same thing here, training the biceps in a pretty shortened position with a preacher curl. I really like this machine. I chose a weight that I could do for anywhere from 12 to 20 reps, and I increased that weight over the course of those 4 sets that I did. And I'm not afraid to go to failure on isolation exercises or machine exercises. I feel like that's the time to do it because the risk is pretty low. Sometimes I like to push the intensity with partials and negatives, but can't do that all the time and expect to recover completely. So now we're training the triceps in the lengthened position. This is when our shoulder is in flexion, so our upper arm is right up overhead. Ideally, your elbows stay tucked in. That's something that I struggle with. I have kind of poor mobility in my shoulder in that range of motion, but really trying to keep your elbows back behind your head and then bending as much as you can through your elbows to really stretch the part of the tricep that crosses the shoulder joint. So this is a maximally stretched position. I also always start with triceps because my biceps tend to overpower them. So I'll also do an additional tricep exercise just to try to get them to catch up. That's another area I've made some decent progress in this year, and I want to continue that trend. Here we're doing cable curl in the stretch position. Notice I'm trying to keep my elbows back behind my body, and then I fully stretch. There's no reason to come all the way up because you won't really be working against that resistance of the cables. You can see I have the axles set pretty high because I really want to emphasize that stretch position of the short head of the bicep that crosses the shoulder joint. So getting my shoulder as far back into extension as I can and trying to get deep elbow extension as well, really stretching out the bicep. Last tricep exercise for today, dumbbell skull crushers. I went to failure for 3 sets and I was pretty fatigued at this point. I think I managed to get like 25 reps on my first set, and then it quickly dropped off from there because I started to cut the rest times down a little bit as I had other things that I needed to do. That's the way life goes sometimes, and it's not the end of the world. But at the end of this set here, I just kind of held the stretch for a little bit longer. Maybe it does something, maybe it doesn't. We'll never know for sure, but I do it. For the last shoulder exercise today, I did 2 sets to failure of dumbbell lateral flies with 25 pounds. I managed to get 35 reps on my first set. Here's the second set. Pretty steep decline because once again I shortened the rest periods down because at this point I just wanted to get to posing and then head back to work. So really tried to keep tension the entire time and really push blood into the shoulders because nothing better than having a great shoulder pump before you send check-in photos. In all seriousness though, that's probably not the right thing to do. You want to avoid having a pump going into your photos once again to control for all those different variables. So I got to get better at that. And I'm not going to show my mandatory video. I just thought this was kind of a cool video. I wound up posting it to Instagram of a mirror shot. I actually brought my tripod today. Really getting serious about this whole YouTube thing. But yeah, I felt like my posing looked really good. The lighting in this spot is a lot better, or at least more flattering for my physique compared to where I practice my posing and send check-ins from. But I'd rather use unflattering lighting for check-in photos because you'll just look that much better under good lighting if those photos look good. And I was actually pretty happy with my back double here.
Just wrapped up for today, got my last meal in. Arms and shoulders felt great. Hopefully some of that training footage is useful for you guys if you see how I perform things or my order of operations. It works for me. So if it informs some of your decisions and you like it, that's pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, this is it for the day. Last meal was breakfast burritos. I macro matched perfectly. I was hankering for some breakfast food and definitely scratched that itch. But calories dropped another 500 on training days today, which I'm actually really excited for because I've been stuck at this little 230, 228 range for a while now. So I feel really good about that. Just got to stay on the cardio. Gonna be getting up extra early tomorrow to get that done because we start at 6:30 a.m. with my first client. So then it's leg day, and yeah, we'll see you guys then.